Hello and welcome to the coverage of the 2017 Nokian Tyres World Orienteering Championships from Estonia. My name is Catherine Bett and I'll be talking you through all the action from some technical and tricky relay races in the forests of Viitapalu. Orienteering is the ultimate test of physical, mental and technical skill. Athletes navigate the course using a map where a certain number of controls are marked. They must visit all the controls in the correct order. They also have to decide which routes to take to get around the whole course. There are a few TV controls where we can track their progress, but the athletes are not allowed to look at the map until the moment they start. Distances can range from sprint events at 3 kilometres to long distance events of 18 kilometres. Every control is marked with an orange and white flag, and runners show they've been there by registering with a touch-free electronic chip. The longer events take place in forests and heathlands and are a test of endurance. But for the shorter distances, the athletes head to the towns, where running and navigation speed is key and every second counts. Every athlete is also equipped with a GPS tracker, which enables spectators to watch where they're going out on the course and enables them to see the route choices they've made. As well as individual competitions, there are also relays. The forest relay has a mass start and is run in teams of 3. For all events, the fastest time on the course wins, whether it's a mass start or an individual time trial. The time is measured when all the controls are visited in the correct order and the athlete crosses the finishing line. So today is the day of the forest relays and we'll start with the men's map. They head out at the start and we'll take one of these 3 routes to find different controls. This is the forking that's going to make sure that they don't all go exactly the same way and that they can't follow each other. And after all 3 of the legs, they will all have run the courses, the different routes between them. Here they go out towards the marsh and then they will head up the hill to a few controls before we see them pass through the arena for the first time. Then they go out in a different direction from the start and through to some forest. Most of this forest is the same as what we saw in the middle distance yesterday, so some will be very used to it if they decided to run the middle race. Again, there's some forking and they come back for some controls together. And then a longer leg 16 out again to the forest. This is very technical terrain with lots of hills and lots of depressions, lots of holes in the ground where it's really difficult to see where everything is because of all the green, all the bushes, and they will go after the 20th control into the finish and change over. But number 101, the world champions from last year, it's Norway, Eskil Skinneberg, Olaf Lundares and Magna Daly. In 2, it's Switzerland, Fabian Hürtner, Daniel Hubmann and Matthias Kuberts. Hürtner took the silver medal at the middle distance yesterday. He's looking forward to a great race. In 3rd, 103, Johan Runeson, William Lind and Gustav Bergman. And from France, it's Frédéric Tronchon, Luca Basset and the 8-time world champion at the middle distance, Thierry Georgiou. So it's the start and off they go into the forest. All the teams starting together in this mass start format, and this is the first time they have seen the map. And it's Johan Runeson in the lead for Sweden at the moment, being followed closely by Hürtner from Switzerland. So out they go into the forest, and now it's time for them to do the navigation. But at this control, after 1.1 kilometres of running, it's Runeson in the lead ahead of Czech Republic and of Latvia. We've also got Poland, Norway, Bulgaria, Denmark, Belarus, Lithuania all together after this control number 4. And this is what's happened to some of the other runners early on in the race. Big mistakes for Switzerland, Britain and Russia, putting them out of medal contention already, even after the start of this race. But at the end of the first leg, this is Frédéric Tronchon. Very close by is Eskil Skinneberg, Czech Republic, Denmark, Lithuania, Finland and Sweden. These groups all coming together, and it will be Tronchon in the lead. Handing over to Luca Basset. And Eskil Skinneberg handing over to Olaf Lundares. Lithuania also up there, Denmark as well, Finland, the top 7 within 10 seconds of each other. That's how close it is after the first lap. And at the exchange, it is France who are in the lead. Remember, they have the 8-time world champion going on the final leg. But here we are in the forest, running behind both Olaf Lundenes and William Lind from Sweden. They have made some gaps on each other and taking different routes through the forest, but here is Lundenes in the lead. His distinctive breathing as he comes through this control after 4 kilometers of running. And next, it's the Lithuanian. It's Vildis, looking very strong from a nation that is not so, traditionally not so good at orienteering, and Basse is in 3rd place, 52 seconds down on Lundenes, and Lundenes has taken a big lead out of the rest of them. He is making light work of this forest, which is full of bushes, it's full of fallen trees on the ground, and he is able to get away, I think, from our cameraman, even though he is in the middle of the race. But here is Lundenes coming into the arena. What a great lead for the Norwegian. Has not made any mistakes out on the course, and he will come to the line and hand over to the 3rd leg runner, and it is Magne Daly. He's running the 3rd and final leg for Norway. He's got a 4th place at the long distance already in these championships, but this is the 8-time middle distance champion and won in this same terrain yesterday. Can the Frenchman catch up some time on Olaf Lundenes of Norway? Well, this is the Frenchman into the finish, still being joined by the Lithuanian, and the gap has grown even more as Basse comes round the corner and hands over. 1 minute and 21 seconds behind, will give the map to Georgiou, and he's off into the forest. Now on the men's course, 1 minute and 21 is a big gap to chase, and this is William Lind coming in for Sweden. He's 2 minutes and 14 seconds down, but will hand over to Gustav Bergman, who took 6th place at the middle distance, and this is Norway's lead over France. But take a look at what Lithuania does. Heads to control 4 first, then number 3, and then has to go back to number 4 because you have to get the controls in the right order. And this is how Sweden and Bergman was able to catch up and then overtake the Lithuanian. They're back in the forest on the final leg. It's Magne Daly in the lead, just making sure he looks at his map and doesn't make any mistakes. He's got a big lead, he knows, and he doesn't want to give that away to those who are chasing him. And this is the chaser. This is Thierry Georgiou, an absolute master of orienteering, and he plows through the forest, the tall figure making light work of all this bracken underneath his feet. The gap has been closed a little bit to 1 minute and 9, but it's still going to be a big gap as Bergman comes through. He's overtaken the Lithuanian. So Magne Daly just checking his map very carefully. He knows he doesn't want to make any mistakes in this forest, and finds a control with no problems. Georgiou is on the chase. And this is Gustav Bergman, who's also behind the Frenchman. He's still got to be racing for the bronze medal, though he can't rely on anybody making mistakes in front of him. He just knows he shouldn't be caught by 4th place. And this is Magne Daly at the 4 kilometer mark on this final leg of running, on the final lap for him. From here, all the forkings will have unraveled, so they're all going to run the same distance, all the teams, and behind it's Georgiou, who is only 45 seconds behind at this point, and chasing is Gustav Bergman of Sweden. He's got a gap of 1 minute 49, and as they're nearing the end of this race, it's maybe too much for him to catch up. We'll wait and see. And back with following the master of sprint orienteering, the king in his final event, final competition at World Championships level. But at the finish, this is the Norwegian team in the lead. It's Magna Daly. All he's got to do is run down this hill, take a left-hand bend, cross the bridge and make it to the line. He's got a clear lead over the others and is able to join his teammates Eskil Shinneberg and Olaf Lundres. They can congratulate him for having 3 great races, the Norwegians, and they have time enough to celebrate this run then as the French team go onto the top of the bridge. They can celebrate Magna Daly being cheered on by all of the spectators here, and they are the defending world champions. Norway taking the win for the 2nd year in a row. Great performances from all the Norwegians there. So we're waiting for the silver medalists, who's going to take the medals. So at the final control, it is Thierry Georgiou. He's kept a clean race all the way around, but he hasn't been able to catch the Norwegians as he waves to the crowd on this, his final race at World Championships level. He's going to go on and coach the Swedish national team. And his teammates, Tronchon and Basset, are there to congratulate him on the bridge, and they can run into the finish line knowing they are silver medalists. What a great improvement on 6th place from last year, and they also have time to spare. So silver for the French as Georgiou is able to walk across the line. But still we have the bronze medal to be decided. As Georgiou throws his shirt into the crowd, this is Gustav Bergman. Who knows, he's also got a gap, and his teammates can also congratulate him. Johan Runesson and William Lind will give him a hug. They too have got a gap, having broken away from Lithuania, and can take the Swedish flag to the line. They have defended their bronze medal, their 3rd place at these World Championships relays, and a great 3rd place from them, 2 minutes behind the Norwegians. Very happy with that. Good strong run on the 1st place for Johan Runesson, and being congratulated by Luca Basset and Tronchon there. Great racing. So this is where, these are the top 3, Norway, France and Sweden, and they were given their flowers. They'll get the medals once the official results are confirmed. But here is the final results, the top 10 within 8.5 minutes. So on to the women's forest relay at these World Orienteering Championships from Estonia, and it could be another interesting race in this tricky terrain that we saw. It was the same for the middle distance, but this is their map. They will head out from the start, taking one of the 3 routes, the shorter controls here from the start, and then they will go into this area that they haven't run in before, a new part of the map to go 2 and 3. And then a longer leg with a bit of route choice to control number 4 in this tricky area where it's really difficult to see what is what in the terrain and on the map. And we've seen people making some mistakes in this part of the forest yesterday and today. And then 7, 8, and they will head through the arena and out from a different direction into this longer leg here again, where we've seen people make mistakes in the men's race. And then they will have a few controls before heading out into the open area. There we have 11 and 12. Then there will be, again, some splitting, some forking before they make their way back to the arena and to the finish line. So another technically complicated course, and this is the start of the women's competition. As they are cheered out of the start, it's their first look at the map. And it's Venla from Finland who is leading the women out, followed by Anastasia Rudnaya of Russia. And some of the less experienced orienteering nations taking the rear and taking a different route choice into the forest there. But we're behind Emma Johansson from Sweden. They were 5th last year, but Emma has had a really, really great leg, has kept it steady and not made mistakes when others have messed up behind her. So Emma is coming through into into the lead, handing over to Helena Jansson. And there's a good gap over Venla and Finland as she hands over to Marika Taini on the second leg, and the gap is 45 seconds.
We are waiting now for Latvia and Norway.
And that was the bronze medalist from the middle distance yesterday, coming into second place for Finland. And then there's a group of Latvia, Russia and Norway all together as they pick up their maps from the board and hand them to the next runner. That's the cue for them to go out into the forest. So 5 teams all together, but out on leg 2. It could all change. This is Helena Jansson, running well in the forest, keeping it steady. She anchored the winning sprint relay team earlier this week. And was 6th in the middle distance, but this is Marika Taini, 9th in the middle distance, and she's caught up a little bit of time actually on Helena Jansson on Sweden, so looking good for the Finns. There's of course still one more leg to run after this one. They're only 1.4 kilometers around the race. And this is Russia and Latvia together, Mironova and Lauravika together, and 2 minutes behind Helena Jansson. But we can run again behind Helena Jansson, who decided to dye her hair pink, her favourite colour to celebrate her gold medal in the sprint relay. And we also have Marika Taini. There is a bit of a gap between these two runners, and they're both taking, of course, different routes through the forest, making sure they run their own race. They won't be able to see anybody ahead of them. And this is Svetlana Mironova also doing the same thing. She was 4th in the middle distance yesterday, but Jansson comes into this area of open ground where there are lots of bushes and it's very tricky, but her running time is just under an hour so far. But what is the gap on Marika Taini, who is crossing a lot of these fallen trees, felled trees that are in this area? It's very tricky. And she has found this control and just checking her map very carefully to make sure she gets to this next control, and approaching it from above. The gap is now 57 seconds, so she's lost some time out in the forest on Helena Jansson of Sweden. And as we come to the same spots, this is Svetlana Mironova from Russia, and she too has lost some time on the lead of Jansson. Just checking her map, she was a bit too high on this control, couldn't exactly find it properly, and she's 3 minutes and 16 seconds behind, but she seems to have dropped the Latvian at the moment. And at the finish, this is Helena Jansson, and she will hand over to 4-time gold medalist Tove Alexandersson. She's got 2 gold medals, defending her title both times from the long and the middle already in these championships. And for Finland, it's Marika Taini, and have a look at the gap. It's 1 minute 44 seconds as she hands over to Merja Rantanen. She will try not to make any mistakes out in the forest, but this is Alexandersson into the first control on her leg, running very fast through the terrain. We know she's got a very, very good speed going through some of this, especially some of this tricky terrain, and jumps over those fallen trees with no problems whatsoever. Now, Merja Rantanen didn't run in the middle distance on this same area yesterday. Let's see if that hinders her progress. as she goes past this control. That's not the one she's looking for. But Svetlana Mironova is has lost some more time on Finland. And let's have a look at some of the GPS routes. And Alexandersson of Sweden been given a big lead by her two teammates, but she looks like she's making a few mistakes into this control, not going very straight and then running along the path. But looks like she has relocated and made her way into control number 2 and 3. Following behind is Merja Rantanen. But as we catch up with Alexandersson, she is still in the lead. No one's managed to catch her so far after 1.4 kilometers of running. As she heads out onto the track, and our cameraman having trouble catching up with her as she goes straight into the forest again. And this is Rantanen, and the gap is now 2 minutes. She made some mistakes in the forest, but so did Alexandersson, and they are still roughly 2 minutes apart from each other. And into the run-in, the final stretch. Not into the run-in. Yep, she made a mistake. She needs to go through the arena. She was running up the finish line, and that is not what she's supposed to do. She needs to go through the arena passage, and she will have lost some time there. She gets some feedback from the coach that she's doing a nice job. Thumbs up there, and back in the forest for the second loop of this third leg. Alexandersson still making the running through this terrain look very easy, and she's picked up some of the tracks under her feet, and then out to this area of open land, easily finding the control after the team have run for an hour and a half. That's their combined time. And heading back into the forest over this hill. But does she have a gap on Finland? Alexandersson in yellow, Finland in blue, and Russia in red. And looks like the blue line of Finland is making a mistake to control number 11, and Russia was actually able to overtake her there. So this is Natalia Gempela running for Russia into this control before Finland. She's got a third place from the long, a second place from the sprint, and a seventh place from the middle. So great running from Gempela as she gets this control from a really good line, hasn't had to approach it from the top, and it's a gap of 2 minutes 51 seconds. And this is Rantanen after her mistake. I think she doesn't know where the control is. Disappeared from view. There she is on the right of shot, and you can see the control that she's trying to find. Has she seen it? Is running back towards the control, but I still don't think she's seen it. She's so close. And there we go. She's got it, but that has put her 4 minutes and 21 seconds behind Sweden. Mistakes from Finland may have cost them the silver medal, but here is the leader. Here are the winners. It's Tove Alexandersson who's anchoring the Swedish team to victory. There is Helena Jansson and Emma Johansson who can give Alexandersson the Swedish flag, and they can run into the finish line as a team together with a big lead. 2 great runs to set up Alexandersson, who didn't have a perfect race, but it was enough to stop the Finns and the Russians from catching her. So the gold medal goes to Sweden and the World Championship title. But racing for second place, and it's Gempela. She may not have known that she's passed the Finns, but she's been greeted by her teammates and can jump across the line. 2 minutes and 41 seconds behind, but that is a silver medal. And into third place, it's Merja Rantanen and the Finns. With Marika Taney and Ven Lahayu, they can wave the flags and cross the line together to be 4 minutes 23 seconds behind. But taking a great bronze medal. Didn't mess up too much out in the forest. They may have lost the silver, but they've still got a medal. And this was the flower ceremony to award the flowers to the winning teams. So as you see the final results, that's it from the World Championships here in Estonia. Next year, it's off to Latvia for a week of great orienteering.